tip.
Good afternoon. It is March 1st, 2018. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Limnos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? I got to play basketball outside 3 times this week. I am on top of the world.
Outside. They let you do that? What are you playing
Outside.
in sweatpants and a winter jacket and hat? And, how are you shooting with gloves on?
Oh no, shorts and a t-shirt. Even towards the end, took the t-shirt off. I think I even got a little sunburned a little bit that first day.
Well, I'm not that.
Gotta be careful out there.
That I'm not shocked by. You could get sunburned at nighttime. You're that pale. But moving along, we got a bunch of stuff going on. February just flew by, and guess what month it is? Guess what happens this month? There's this little fun thing called March Madness is coming around the corner, and I can't wait. We got a bunch of drama going on between the NBA wrapping up after All-Star break. We got a couple weird NCAA issues going on. And we have Facebook doing weird things and stealing information from everyone. All of that to come in the podcast going forward. But let's dive right into March Madness right now. How excited are you that it's officially March and we're only a couple weeks away?
I'm super excited. I am going to the first round, going to San Diego, going to come visit you. So that's also an added bonus. March Madness and then a little appetizer before March Madness are the conference tournaments. The Big Ten did a goofy thing where they're playing in New York a week earlier than everybody else because they really wanted to play in New York because nothing like Midwestern basketball screams Manhattan. But okay, to each their own. So you got all of a sudden, hey, win or go home for a lot of teams, and it doesn't get much more fun than that.
I see Syracuse is still a bubble team right now. I am hoping they're able to push through and somehow manage to get in. But let's talk some other drama right now. We didn't get to talk about it in the last podcast. I don't think we had enough information, or maybe it wasn't even out yet. But we have this Arizona head coach. Allegedly, the FBI has a recording of him offering somebody $100,000 for so-and-so. And this has stirred up the whole conversation that we've already had and will not have right now at this moment of paying players and how can they send a message or get some compensation out of all this. I recently just heard Jay Williams, an ESPN analyst, former Duke alum, and former number 3 pick for Chicago, something like that, top 5 pick at least to Chicago, making a statement saying the players should boycott the Final Four. The Final Four. They should, if your team is fortunate enough to make it and you're going to be a top NBA prospect, you should boycott it. You shouldn't even go. Just see what happens when they put out a less quality product, and that'll get the message across, and that's how you guys are going to get paid. I think this is ridiculous. What do you think? Do you think this would even work? Like, does this actually send a message?
I definitely think it sends a message. There's a lot of money at the Final Four. They rent out a football stadium for this and have been for years. So clearly a lot of people are going. Everybody knows about it. It's the culmination of March Madness.
So
but I think that it's too much. It's too much to put on these kids, on these college. And I shouldn't say kids. On these college students.
No,
making the Final Four is a big deal.
This is the biggest thing of their life. This is This is the biggest thing in their life. If anything, this was the first goal you had, or maybe it was a high school championship, and right after that, this was the next one. Make it to the Final Four, be on the big stage, see all the NBA scouts, play against the best of the best, which is what the Final Four will be. Now, I think in the pre-show we talked about, I think Jalen Rose also made a statement saying they should skip the whole tournament. And my response to that is that won't work because upsets are everything that the world wants. We want upsets in every matchup. If the good players decide just not to show up, it'll still be a great tournament because the smaller teams that are so excited to just be in the tournament are going to be ecstatic to play a team that starting 5 has chosen to not play and proceed to move on to the Final Four. Could you imagine a Final Four of 4 George Masons? That's essentially what would happen if these guys decided to boycott.
No, I'm gonna stop you right there. There's the excitement that's happening as the run's happening, but then when you actually have to watch the basketball game, there's a reason I'm not turning into American East, and my alma mater plays in the American East, but there's a reason that I'm not tuning into those games on a regular night, and that's why I'm turning into primetime ESPN, ACC games, Big 12 games. I want to see Kansas. The Trae Young show was fun for a while. That's what I wanted to see. I don't need to really see some junior that's at a mid-major school. I don't think that that's what people want at all.
All right. So, do you think this would actually work then? Is this going to send any message at all? The other thing is the players that are going to do this, it's not going to do anything for them. Assuming they're as good as they think they are, they're going to get drafted in a couple months, and this is all old news. It all goes away. But for the
And
future, does
that's
this do
why
anything?
even and making the Final Four is a big deal. Making the tournament is varying levels of a big deal. For some schools, make the tournament every year. That's like standard. We're going to make the tournament. They're the ones looking for the Final Four. But there's some schools that have never made the tournament. Northwestern made the tournament for the first time last year. That was a big deal. And to somehow try to make that into a statement, and I understand it would be a good thing or a possible good thing to try to get attention to, hey, we need to have some sort of compensation for these players. It just seems like such a steep price for them to play.
I don't think it would work, and it's a huge sacrifice to ask for somebody for something that I can't say I think it'll work. If I really thought it would work, I would tell the players, yeah, if you truly think this is going to make the adjustment and make the statement that you think this whole organization needs, then by all means make it. But for a very iffy maybe and a more than likely no, that's asking a lot from these players, and they're already at a point where I'm saying they're kids, you're saying they're adults. They're not ready to make that type of decision and really kind of come up with an idea that's really going to solve all this. That has to be on everybody else, in my mind.
And here's a suggestion. Uh, Here is Jay Williams. He's on the ESPN the halftime shows of the game. He does the college game days during Saturdays. Jalen Rose, he's all over the place on ESPN. They're already making money. Why don't they boycott it? They say, hey, I'm not going to talk any college basketball until these guys get paid.
This seems fair.
Don't push this on the students. If you want to make a difference, you're an adult. You band together. I don't think that it should be forced on the players to miss out on a once in a lifetime opportunity, or maybe not once in a lifetime, but they have a very short window where once you're out of college, try to get a group together. There's ways of making this happen. There's ways of creating a movement without having to get rid of this opportunity for the players.
It'll be interesting again to see where this goes forward. We've had the discussion before about the possibility of paying and compensating players in some way or some form. This just seems like another log to the fire. Something's going to give soon. I have no idea what will, but something's going to happen. And I'm going to say 5 years. How long do you think it'll be before something really changes? Like before this is a completely different league?
Something's going to happen. I don't know if it'll be this FBI investigation that just kind of blows this all wide open and just forces them to kind of rebuild from the ground up and force to put different things in place, or if it will be maybe not the junior. Was it the junior basketball league? Is the LeVar league that he's starting?
Oh, I don't know what that is. I'm not worried about that. I'm more concerned about the G League becoming the new developmental league, and that really truly taking over.
The G League is another spot where this could happen, but LeBron just mentioned he didn't call it the junior basketball league, but it was very much in a similar vein as the junior basketball league that LeVar is trying to put on. So that one might not work, but sooner or later, if the FBI really cracks down and really says, hey, none of you can get paid, and somehow they're really better about figuring it out, guys are going to figure out a way to get paid. If you're really good at something, what was the line from The Dark Knight? The Joker says, if you're really good at something, don't do it for free. It's something along those lines.
Yeah.
Something very similar. It's like the NCAA is trying to come in and saying, you're an amateur. This stuff you're worthless. This isn't worth anything. When in reality, their services are worth a whole lot, and that's what's creating this corruption. And sooner or later, it's going to be figured out.
So much money there. But speaking of changes, we're going to talk probably our only baseball topic of the podcast here. But apparently, there's a I don't even know. Is it a rumored proposal? This isn't actually going to happen, but I kind of like the idea of it, or at least the concept of the MLB allowing anybody to bat in the ninth inning if you're trailing. So if you're down, this is your last shot at winning the game. I don't know what league you're in. I don't know if the pitcher or your worst batter or whoever is supposed to come up, but you would have the option to essentially add anybody else. I like that change. I think it makes it a little bit more exciting. The advantage of the advantage basketball has is the star power. You get to see these stars play for 40 minutes of a 48-minute game. That's not exactly the case in baseball. So I think anytime you have a chance to put your stars in the spotlight more often, that's a good thing. No? Maybe? Possibly? Did I even present that topic correctly?
I think it's a goofy rule. I don't think it'll really happen, but I think it's fun to talk about. I wonder if one of the unintended consequences of this would be if you are leading, say, by a run in the eighth inning, if you almost try to allow a couple of runs to make sure that you can have your best players bat for you in the ninth, as like that would be a strategy. Like it's not exactly the same, but almost in basketball, the 2-for-1 opportunity.
Yep.
So you kind of rush yourself. I like that they're thinking of some ideas. Everyone's saying that baseball is on the decline, and they have to do something. If you keep the status quo, you're going to continue on the trend. So even if this is just you're in a room with there's no bad ideas, and this one kind of leaked out, and I'm sure that baseball purists are want no part of this, and this is stupid and this is awful. But it's fun to talk about. The off season for baseball got us talking about baseball, right?
Did you hear about the they did make this is an actual change they made about the amount of times a catcher's allowed to approach the pitcher? They I think it's like 5 times a game or something like that. And I think it's only like once per inning and 5 throughout the game. I don't remember what the actual number is, but they're actually going to put a number and restrict this. And I don't know what the penalty is going to be if you go over it, but they're doing everything they can to make this game more entertaining and appeal to a larger crowd. So I'm all for it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm still not watching now. I'm not sure if this would push the needle enough to force me to watch, but it's definitely it's helping. It's getting me closer. I'll say that.
I just wonder as we go forward with the new, I'm gonna call it the media model. If you're network TV, you're looking to get as many people as you watch. If you're CBS, you want as many people as possible. But if you're Netflix, you want as many people as possible. What's getting them in is they have to love a show, not just like it. So I wonder if baseball, you don't really want to spread yourself too thin trying to get more people. If you want to just embrace and have your core group of people they're watching every baseball game every night rather than going after the one that watches it occasionally, and see what kind of direction is both television and sports going to be going in this new era.
Nobody knows. The advantage of everything in this era is the amount of access you have to everything. Like a perfect example, that James Harden play yesterday. I can't go on any form of social media without seeing it somewhere on the timeline. It's just in front of you, regardless. I can't avoid it. I almost wish I've seen it so many times. I don't want to see it ever again. And we can even talk about your thoughts on the play right now. But it's one play of the whole game that had very little. The game had no value. The Clippers are out. James Harden is more than likely going to win the MVP, and that one play isn't why. I'm not going to say that's why. But you know what? It was fun to watch. And if there was more plays like that in baseball, and it was in front of everybody like this is, maybe it wouldn't have to be such a niche market.
I don't think the Clippers are out. I think they still have a fighting chance. But I get your overall idea that you're just watching this one play. That's one of the things that the NBA has done an awesome job of, is saying, hey, you have, in air quotes, copyrighted material. Show it. Show it to as many people as you want. Put it on your Twitter. Add a funny caption to it. Spread it around. Put it on Facebook. Put it on Instagram. Put it everywhere. And like you said, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing it. Where
Everywhere.
definitely the NFL and I think baseball as well, they are the complete opposite. This is ours. We don't want to share it with anybody, and I don't think that can last very long.
Well, you got to go to their site, and we've talked behind the
And
scenes about how bad NBA.com is. Like, I would never go there as a source for it. Maybe a box score, but even then, that's like a last resort thing. Like, I couldn't find one of the ESPN links or Yahoo or Fantasy Link. Like, something else is going to come across me before I have to actually go to directly to the source.
and one of the things that's cool that I'm sure that you kind of felt today as you're going through and you're seeing this everywhere is, hey, the NBA is cool. Look at all these people that are watching the NBA. There's no way that this many people posted it that aren't into it at some level. So you feel like you're part of something that's bigger. Where sometimes you're if you're watching something else and you don't see anything on social media about it, you kind of wonder, like, am I the only one that's like into this? Like, am I kind of on the outside? Is this fun? Are people having fun, or is it just me?
I feel like you just described like underground hip hop, and like the baseball commissioner is like, they went mainstream. They ruined everything. I liked them until they made it on the radio, which is always the funniest thing in underground hip hop, where you're like such a nerdy fan and you follow this group or these artists or whatever it is, and you're like, these guys are so underrated. The stuff on the radio is garbage. It's all repetitive nonsense. And you're a super fan for them. You buy their stuff, you go to their concert, you spend all this money, and all that money eventually accumulates to the point where they're able to market themselves and actually make it on the radio and have larger concerts. And you're like, this is the worst thing ever. They were so much better when they're this. It's like, well, you were the problem. You added to all of the things you didn't want to happen. Like you almost have to be an underground fan to keep something underground also. But you can't do that. If you really like something, you just go with it.
You're gonna tell people
that's really what the MLB needs is they need people to stop being underground fans, and I'm gonna trademark that term right now because that sounds like something I'm gonna use the rest of the year. It just came up with it right now.
I like it.
Underground fans, all right? There are fans out there, but if they were out there spreading the word, just like James Harden highlights yesterday, maybe they wouldn't be in the situation they're in. Or maybe I would be appealed to it a little bit more. I'm a trendy person. I only like the cool stuff. What can I say?
Yeah. Did the Harden crossover to make Wesley Johnson fall? Did that upset you?
A little bit because he's a Syracuse guy. So, but he was such a cool sport. Like, I think that's the one thing we should be talking about more right now. James Harden does that. That's kind of how you expect him to behave. He may have held it a little second longer than most would have. But Wesley Johnson was a really good sport about all this, and I think even to this day, like right now, he's been pretty cool about it. It could have been so much worse. He just kind of steered into the skid. Like he didn't he didn't go on it head on. He kind of just laughed it off, which in all honesty is probably the right approach. There's a lot of wrong approaches. I'm going to say that's one of the few right ones.
It's the only thing you can do. It's all like you just said. It's all over social media. Everybody knows it was you. You're playing defense. This happens. And Harden, yeah, like you said, he's probably going to be the MVP. So you got crossed up by the best basketball player in the world right now. This happens. Stuff happens at the local court where you get crossed over by the guy that's probably not even the best guy at your court, and it's like, oh no. This is just the best way to go through it. Remember, it's a while ago now. But there was that prospect that dunked on LeBron in like a closed door session, and then LeBron it was all
camp.
like, oh,
it was LeBron summer camp, right? That's what it was.
Yeah, and it was like, well, LeBron hid the video, and everyone was like, we need to see this video, and it made it into so much bigger of a deal because I remember seeing the dunk later and being like, I mean, I guess he kind of dunked on LeBron, like it's okay, but it was because there was all this. The cover-up's always worse than the crime, I think is what it is. And so it's just way better to just kind of roll with it and just, hey, stuff happens. And I definitely wasn't mad that Harden held onto the ball that extra couple of seconds, letting him stand up. It's like that's basketball. That's basketball. People are petty and that's trash talking. That's just part of the game. And if you're gonna get all bent out of shape and upset about it, there's other sports for that. There's more maybe gentlemanly sports. Like golf or you know
It,
croquet or something.
I watched PTI like right before the show here, and Olbermann was subbing in for Wilbon, and
Hmm.
he actually made a pretty interesting argument saying that Harden waiting and staring at him was actually a really good strategy because he drawed two defenders, so even if he misses that, the two guys that were supposed to get the rebound and were closest to the hoop are now coming towards him, and he has plenty of time to shoot it. So if he misses it, there's another guy not being guarded right now who's free for the rebound, as well as you still get off an open look. So waiting actually made it a better basketball play because you were more likely to get the rebound with two guys coming at you. It's still an open look.
Also, with holding that extra couple beats, if you miss it, ooh, now you look like a jerk. Now you look like a jabroni because you missed it.
Yep, I
So
mean, there was a risk
Harden
reward.
took it into his own hands because if he goes up and he misses it, he knows like the risk reward just took a jump up.
If he passed it too, I would have said that would have been a loss for him. Also, you can't do that. Stare at him
No, you
and
can't.
then pass. It has to go up.
Uh, isn't that not a basketball rule? If you cross somebody up, like you have to shoot it, right? I
Yeah.
thought that was a rule.
Not only
I
is
thought
that
you went to basketball jail if you didn't do that.
not only is that a rule, but if you miss the shot, who cares? Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it kind of gets negated. Yeah,
Means
I agree.
absolutely nothing. It's a $1 million move for a 10-cent shot. That doesn't do anybody any good. It had little effect. The actual making it really has little effect on the game other than a little bit of momentum. But when you miss it, it has even less because it didn't even factor in the score.
Yep. Earlier this week, Kemba Walker crossed somebody up, and then it was right at the end of the half, or end of the quarter, and I'm pretty sure he even airballed it. I mean, the guy fell like real hard, but he missed it. And to me, it's like you have to complete the play for it like all to count.
Yeah, well, I feel like we've talked about that more than enough, seeing how you're still going to see this play for the rest of the year. But chances that's is that going to be the top play of the year? Like the NBA.com top 10?
I don't think so.
No.
I think there'll be too many people that are all bent out of shape and well, he showed him up and sportsmanship and you should be nicer and you shouldn't made him fall and
It
then shot it. You should I don't know helped him up and then did it the old fashioned way or something.
it wasn't better than the Giannis dunk where he literally goes straight over on the alley oop of was it Hardaway Jr.? I think it was Hardaway Jr.
Yep,
That
sure was.
that's still my top play. But speaking of, let's see, what do we want to go into here? Speaking of picking sides here, I saw. Yeah, we can go into a couple different things here. I don't know where we want to go. Let's talk some Facebook. Let's do that. Let's give the sports a little bit of a break here. So we talked about on Facebook. I'm seeing all these James Harden videos and all these highlights and sports highlights and all that all over my feed, all over Instagram, everything. The other thing I've been starting to see, and this isn't new, but I'm seeing it a lot more, and maybe I'm just paying attention to it now that I've kind of gotten bothered by it, are these little stupid quizzes of what's your spirit animal, or what fruit would you be, or what kind of pizza are you if in basically it's a complete it has no actual science study at all. I think they're all like these stupid BuzzFeed articles. And I was just reading an article the other day this
Wait,
week.
hold on, wait. You're saying that this stuff on the internet isn't based on science?
No, but you would think they would at least calculate
Whoa.
something.
Oh man. Oh, you're whoa. I don't even know if I can finish the podcast now that I know that there's
Uh,
stuff on the internet that isn't based on science.
breaking news. What can I say?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Breaking news here. Anyways, these quizzes, and so I'm reading this article and it's telling me about all this information collecting that they've designed for this. Like it doesn't matter what you check off in that. All it is data collecting your Facebook information for one, because you had to use that to access the quiz or whatever, and then your desires, which is what the questions are based on. What kind of pizza do you like? Where do you shop? Like all these statistical things that are going to have value to somebody. The data you're just giving away for free, and you have no idea.
Full
And, and you're doing all of this just so you could know what your spirit animal is and share it with your friends, so then they can know what their spirit animal is. I'm bothered by this. This is something I don't know why I'm bothered by it because it doesn't affect me. I don't fill it out. I don't click on them. I don't do any of them. But man, am I
You
bothered
knew
by
an
it.
awful lot about him, though. Hmm.
I read the article. The
See, you
article
seem to
was
have all the
very
details.
the article was very detailed in everything I just said.
All right, listeners, you get to make the decision. Do you think Will read a really long, detailed article about data analytics, or do you think that he is an avid quiz taker on Facebook? You guys get back to me on that. I know what I think. You guys let me know.
Well, if you were a spirit animal, what would it be? And let me ask you a couple questions because I'll decide it for you right now. I'll pull up the quiz. You know what? Let me save you the time here. I will sacrifice.
I don't want you to steal my data.
No. That's
You
the
can't
thing.
steal my
We'll,
data.
we'll do it under my name. We'll save you.
Okay.
All right. We will save. It's like I'm sacrificing my identity. I'm voluntarily identity thieving myself. All right. It's okay.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I just got a master's degree in a lot of this stuff, and it was very interesting to see. I'm going to call it more the negative side of data mining. Where on the front side, it's really easy to see all the good things that can happen. Hey, UPS used analytics, and they were able to find out, if you take 20% more right turns, you can save yourself 30% time, and time is money kind of deal. And just all these other, basketball analytics. Hey, you can find out what groups of guys work best together. But there is kind of this other side to it where there's some other stuff that's probably even worse. But kind of like, hey, Facebook's kind of tracking everything you're doing, and other companies are tracking it, and they're definitely selling it for a bunch of money.
I just never understood why those became a thing, and I didn't see the benefit for anybody. Like I was bothered by somebody telling me what their spirit animal was based on an article that had, again, zero scientific evidence of anything. I don't know what I wanted it to be. I just was annoyed. I was like, this doesn't benefit me, the person doing it, or the person that made this. I don't see the benefit of it. And then I read the article. Like, that's why. That's what it is. Okay, that makes more
Now
sense.
you know the dirty secret.
And now that I know it, I'm more bothered by it. Now that I'm like, this is no. I don't think people know this. Am I naive for thinking that, or I feel like people aren't aware of this. This is an awareness speech right now.
I think I would agree, just because I know when you download apps, it kind of gives you a heads up on what's going to happen, so you kind of look through that, and you kind of know, all right, if I post something on Facebook, that's kind of like the agreement of, okay, this is out there, anybody can get to it. But I would agree kind of with the quizzes of, hey, I'm taking a quiz. You don't need all of my information for this.
It's so there you have it. That it's not even a topic. It's an awareness pitch right now. You can thank me later, or you can use my name. I don't I don't care. Don't use my name. Let's see. Speaking of money, let's talk some money here. Let's talk money and let's talk strategy right now. Hey, what is? Let me ask you this: define trust the process. What does that exactly mean? What do you think that would mean? Like if you were trying to explain to somebody who has no idea what basketball is, and you were trying to explain what is trust the process? I see it all over the place. I see it on billboards in Philly right now. What does that mean?
It was a coined term based off of Sam Hinkie's plan, who was the GM of the Sixers, to be really, really bad for multiple years, to get good draft picks, to completely reset the system, and hope you get one or multiple superstars so you can win a championship. And so the reason it's trust the process is because it takes a really long time.
All right. The reason it's trust the process because trust the process doesn't get you a $600,000 fine like the word tanking does, which is all it is. It is a synonym for me as far as I'm concerned. Synonym for tanking and trust the process. That's all it is they took a word the NBA didn't want any part of, and they said, all right, we'll just slap this label on it, and nobody will ever know. And Embiid, I think, is trolling people constantly by saying, well, we tanked. This is what we've been doing. We've been tanking, and finally it's paid off. And I can't blame anybody for doing it because I think that's the way the NBA is currently structured. That's the best approach. So now that Mark Cuban has been fined $600,000 for allegedly saying, yeah, we're trying to tank. We want to set ourselves up for the best future possible. and tanking right now
Well,
is the best way to
he
go
he
about
didn't
it.
even he didn't even quite go that far. What he said was and the thing was I think that he said it in a players meeting or like players were around. This wasn't just front office saying the best outcome for us right now would be to tank. So he didn't tell him, hey, you have to do this or you're gonna get cut. He just kind of mused, mentioned, kind of thought about like, hey, best thing for us would be if we didn't really win any more games.
Like even for Cuban, that's a lot of money. That's not a little bit. That's a good amount of money right there. Do you think that justifies the punishment? Like, does that fit the crime?
Well, I have two thoughts on this, kind of two different directions. The first one is strictly more to the tanking side of this, which is you got a bunch of teams that are doing this right now, like an unprecedented amount of teams that are just in an absolute free fall. And it's like he said the words, but aren't actions supposed to speak louder than words? The Knicks grabbed Trey Burke, who hasn't played in a while. He was kind of bouncing in and out of the league. He's playing. They've got Jarrett Jack on the bench, so he's not the greatest, but they've just decimated Courtney Lee's minutes, and so yes, the Knicks haven't come out and said, hey, we're tanking, but not gonna make the playoffs. Their best players done for the year. Their actions are moving in that direction. They're advertising it. I think it's very just like you said with the trust the process as just like a sneaky way of just admitting to tanking. Which, to be fair, that was more of a Philadelphia fan base thing. Sam Hinkie didn't say that. He didn't. I don't believe he was like a proponent of that.
I'm just saying, if we were in this meeting and Cuban was in that interview and he used the phrase, "We're just trusting the process," the best interest in our team right now is to trust the process, and then with like a wink, everybody would know exactly what that meant. Does he still get the fine then? Because I kind of got a problem with somebody going out in Embiid right now in all of Philly and the whole city and all the organization saying trust the process, trust the process, trust the process, and Cuban says the exact same thing in my mind, just uses a little bit more specific of a wording, and gets fined and blamed for doing something like you said everybody else is doing. We all know this. I
Yeah,
can't I can't see
and
why we're punishing people for saying it when everybody's doing it, like you said with the actions.
I think that it is on Adam Silver to change the rules to fix this. It shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to lie about what you're doing. Like if you change the rules, make the consequences line up with what you want to happen. Now, my second part of this is he was fined $600,000. Like I said, ooh, even for Cuban, a lot of money. But on the flip side of this, for the All Star game, for the winning team donated $350,000, and the losing team donated $150,000. So you combine that together, that's less than what Mark Cuban was just fined. So all of this talk about it's like how does this line up? You're donating to charity, you're trying to do a good thing, but here now you find a guy even more than that for just mentioning the word tanking. It just seems odd on how you line up what you're trying
It
to
is
to communicate to the public.
it is interesting. Yeah, yeah, that's. I don't think I ever thought of that. That's cool. That the NBA decided like, hey, this is the most amount of money we can get together for charity, and then the next day was like, well, look, the punishment of Cuban right now has got to be more than what we donated, right? Like this is the only way we could say. The only way we can get
And
this statement across.
yeah, and it was pretty. It was they were pretty close to together, so that's why it really stuck. Like, if they had happened months apart, it would have been two separate incidents. I wouldn't have thought to compare them, but it was just that they were within, I think, even like half a week. So the numbers were fresh in my head.
Well, I fully embrace the teams that are trusting the process and or tanking. I don't think I can get fined. I'm not associated with any team. But sometimes you gotta just go along for the ride and just see what happens. You know, sometimes you gotta. Sometimes you're at the right place at the right time, and things just seem to go your way. And that's just the
Yep.
case for this Olympian. I believe it's an Olympian, the snowboarder in the half pipe, who somehow
Skier.
skier. Sorry, I skier in this half pipe story right now managed to skate by. This is not a very good skier. I wouldn't say it's an elite athlete, but she was fortunate. He. I don't know. This is not my topic. Managed to skate by, literally skate by. And Zach's
Oh, I
gonna
see
tell
what
you
you did
why.
there. I like that. I like that. Skip by. All right. So the Olympics are a little bit past, but this was a news article that kind of popped up, and I kind of earmarked it and said, yeah, this is a podcast topic. So an American skier, Elizabeth Swaney, not really much of a skier, just kind of picked this sport up in her 20s. Decides I'm gonna go after a bid to make the Olympics. She kind of looks around, and says, "I think I'm gonna do it in half pipe for skiing, for women's skiing." Looks at the American field, goes, "Ooh, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to represent for the Americans." Finds out that Hungary, who she has some grandparents that have some ties there, they have never had a woman in the women's skiing halfpipe. So what she does is for 2 years before the Olympics, flies all over the country and participates, and once again some air quotes for participates in these events. You have to make so many top 30 finishes. Well, there's not really that many women's halfpipe skiers. So she would just by showing up would finish in the top 30 every once in a while. This is a sport where you're way up in the air, you're trying to do two cool tricks, you fall the wrong way, you tweak your wrist, you don't finish. That means that's a disqualification. She moves up one level. So she follows through with this. So sure enough, as it just kind of happens by default, she represented Hungary
That's
as the
unreal.
women's as the women's half pipe skier. I saw her run, and it was about what you'd expect. It would be as if you or I, who I don't know last time you went skiing, I know how to ski. It'd be about how if we went on there, kind of went down, got tiny itty bitty little air, and then went to the other side of the half pipe, got tiny little bit of air, did zero tricks. I would have thought if you kept doing this for 2 years, you would have picked up some tricks somewhere along the way. But
Well,
do you think
you have
that
to
this
finish,
is
right? She can't risk falling. It has to be a qualified run.
oh, okay.
So
But at
that's
this
all
point,
she's
you're
trying
at
to
the
do.
Olympics.
Yeah, take some
By this
chances.
point, you're at the Olympics. Is this an idea taken to the extreme that we always talk about around the Olympics of, hey, what event do you think that you could do, or do you think this is just a huge scam that just really is a slap in the face to anybody that is truly training for these events and truly going through it?
All right. I don't know this for sure, but my guess is this is not the first time this has happened. I imagine this happens all the time. We just don't know because these people are really bad at this sport, and there's no point of showing it on TV. There's no point of making a story about it. Nobody should really care. But the interesting thing about this is it was successful. It really worked. This person made it all the way through. I imagine in most of the scenarios that I said that people do it all the time, they don't get this far. It works. It works. It works. They get to a certain point. Uh, it's kind of frowned upon, but at the same time, I guess no harm was really done. Like, did she take a spot from somebody else who deserved it? Not in my book. She played by the rules. So, if anything, you got to make a rule change. And that seems like even quite the commitment for 2 years. So maybe there is a little bit of a barrier to entry there. But you got 4 years, Zach. You know, I don't know. You think you got some skiing eligibility left in you? Can you what kind of ancestry you got here? Can we send you to some other country?
Yeah, I'm not too sure on my ancestry, but let's say, yeah, for next 4 years. So you got 4 years to train for the next Winter Olympics. You have to take gold in the event, or you die. What event are you gonna go for? If you win, you win $1 million.
What event?
Hmm.
Man, I'm trying to think of something that in 4 years I could actually have a chance of getting really good at. Um, just because it sounds like fun and I've actually been watching it a lot. Is it wrong to say curling and I've never curled in my life? Is that naive?
See, that's gonna be tricky for you. You know, you're out in San Diego. I don't think there's a lot of ice, so you might have to give up that cushy lifestyle that you have to go through with it.
Well,
So
well,
just
so so
make
did,
sure you're thinking of
so
that.
did this person. This person traveled across the country. That's travel
I know.
and
This is not
expenses,
about
and then
this is not about Elizabeth anymore. This is about you. This is about Will.
well, Elizabeth is much more
So
committed than I am. I don't want to one the
no, you're gonna
expenses of
die if
it.
you don't win the gold now. In this event in this situation I made up in my head just now.
I am pretty fast in high heels.
I don't think that's an event.
I can't make an event. This is already a dream scenario. It might as well.
No,
If you could make up
I'm
stuff, I
making
want
up.
to be able
I'm
to
making up all the rules.
make. This is- um, yeah. It's got to be a Winter Olympic. It can't be a summer sport.
Nope, because then you'd only have 2 years. You'd never make it.
I never make it. I'm not gonna make it anyways. I'm gonna stick with curling. I think curling is the easier route right now. I don't want to be jumping off
All
stuff.
right,
I'm scared of heights, and
that was that was a smart move to go with the team because neither of us are going to be able to make it on our own. My goal, I'm going to take that $1 million that I'm going to win because otherwise I die, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to have to pay off one of these kind of corrupt countries that's really good at like bobsled, and I'm going to have to give a quarter mil to the coach and a quarter mil to their Olympic head guy, and that's how I'll get on the team. And I might not even be actually going down the bobsled. I might just end up being an alternate, but I'm on the team. I'll get the gold medal. That's my plan.
I can imagine you doing the luge. That sounds like fun. The thing is,
I do, yeah.
with all these
Separate of
sports, you could get
that scenario
hurt.
I came up with, I would be all about trying the luge.
If I knew I wasn't gonna get hurt trying to learn and master all of these skills, like within 4 years, one fall is gonna put me out a year, and now I just lost an entire year. That's the
It's
risk of trying to master a winter sport in 4 years. It's just not possible. So I give that one person a bunch of credit. Now, I mean, I can't think of
it,
a way to do it.
it's funny that you mentioned that you thought that I would be good at luge. I don't know why you think that at all, but during the Olympics, I definitely looked up closest spots to learn how to luge, and the closest one I believe to me was all the way up in Lake Placid. And I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was too expensive for where I'm at right now. Where it was not outrageous, but when you just kind of did the math, it was like, that's a lot of money for a weekend. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass now, but now I know that it is something I could do.
Well, while we're talking about exercise or athletics, Zach's got a statement he's willing to make. I don't know if he stands by it, but we have an article that may or not prove it. Uh, what's more important here, alcohol or exercise? Are you going to prioritize one of these? Are you going to change your lifestyle based on the internet, what the internet said?
The internet has told me that alcohol is better for exercise in the terms of longevity, saying if you want to live longer, you're better off drinking than you are exercising.
Really?
Now, for a little bit of context, it's not saying that one is going to make you live longer, the other one is going to make you live less. Both of them will make you live longer, but cut your risk by 11%, while drinking 2 glasses of beer or wine a day reduces it by 18%.
So
Now, I'm no math expert, but 18 is more than 11.
wait, so it is an actual consumption sort of statistic here? I just thought it was going to be more of a lifestyle thing. Like the person that's sitting at home drinking beer is, I don't know, resting or not injuring itself or stressing its body as much as the one going out there doing burpees and other crazy athletics. I assumed it was more of a lifestyle like that. But you're actually saying it's the consumption of it ends up actually having a difference on the lifespan.
Yes. Well, I mean, it could all be kind of combined together because that's one of the things that I wonder when I saw that is it so much to do with the drinking aspect, or does it mean you are social and you're not alone by yourself? You have something to do. It's okay. Well, I'm going out with friends, and it's a will to live sort of situation.
Hmm. Well, I think I'm gonna have a very long life. Possibly, I'll be doing this podcast for way too long. Is basically what you just told me.
What I was wondering was, it says those who drank 2 glasses of beer or wine a day. What if you kind of just combine a bunch of those days into, like, I don't know, just for example, maybe like a Saturday? Do you think that kind of evens out, or do you think that's no good?
Do you think the addition of more makes it better? Is that what you're asking, or you're asking if you skip the whole week and you just really kind of focus down on a very heavy drinking
Yeah.
Saturday? Does that make up for the rest?
Or I like the way that you're thinking of, hey, 18% for 2 glasses. What does 4 glasses do for you?
Hey, boss man, lunchtime happy hour. You coming? We need to extend our
Interesting.
lives.
All right. Well, I don't know a ton about science and grants, but do you think we could get someone to pay for give us a grant? Pay for us to try this study out?
I mean, I'm all in on it. Do you think we need to be consistent and have the same product every time, or does it not matter? Like,
I don't think it matters. It
does it
doesn't
have to be
mention that
one
here.
does it have to be one beer, or can it be any beer?
It just mentions beer in general, so I think it could be any.
I would just say for the love of science here, we would have to be consistent. So if you had to pick one beer to make for this study, what's it going to be?
Miller Lite.
Yep, for sure.
Yep. Lock it in.
Lock it in. You sure you mean this is for an extended period of time? You're all right with it? You don't want it to be a nicer beer? You're only having two, and you're also not having more than that. So you're only having two. I think if you go with a little bit stronger of one, you'll be assuming you average a more income, a more intake of 2 beers on your average drinking night. You'll want a stronger beer to get to that point. But I guess on the flip side of that, you don't want that every day. So you're probably willing to.
I didn't realize the rules that you were making up for this scenario. I thought we were still on my rules where we were drinking 4 a day.
Oh, all right. Well, that'll be your study.
I'm a little confused on which rules we're going by.
That'll be your study. All right. I'll be the benchmark of the two.
The control.
The
Perfect.
control. All right.
Yeah, we know science terms. Yeah, look at us.
Oh man, I wish I had a science from Breaking Bad with Jesse saying it right now.
That'd be good.
That would be very helpful. I haven't been doing the sound bites, and somebody actually did ask me why I stopped doing it, and it's because we've been warned by YouTube once before for already talking about content we don't own, and we had a couple podcasts removed because of that. Now we got them back up, and
because we're podcast bad boys.
And I
That's
won
right,
I won
girls.
the appeal. Well, the funny thing was they actually assumed that I was uploading content I didn't own, saying like there's another 2 guys just like us that I like their podcast, and I took it and I uploaded it up on my personal channel that I created for them because they don't know that I. It's basically that's what they think happened, and it's not what happened.
If anyone would like to do that, we will give you written permission to upload this to your YouTube channel.
Yes, no problem at all. I can't give you permission to use our content in any way, but in most ways it'll probably be okay.
Yeah, contact our team for that.
Get the intern. I'll give you his number. He's very busy, but you'll definitely want to talk to him first. Speaking of something to look forward to here, I made a little joke earlier talking about I'm really good and really fast in running in high heels, and that's based on last year's March Madness bet between Zach and I. We made a little wager between us, and the loser was going to have to run a race in high heels. It had to be timed video, and it uploaded, and that is actually still on YouTube right now. That one didn't get flagged. So if you would like to see that, or if you would like to participate in our March Madness bracket, we're going to have more information on that coming forward. But we need a new punishment. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what the loser is going to have to do this year. So if you have any ideas, or if you just want to see a repeat of last year, maybe we can have Zach's punishment be that, and we'll have 2 videos of us. And it's only fair.
Do you really want to get beat at a high heel race? Is that what you're? Is that gonna make you feel better?
I don't know whether to feel intimidated, upset, or happy about your idea of beating me in a high heel race. Now, I'm not going to be there. I'm assuming you're just going to beat my time, which there's not exactly.
I don't think we timed you,
But there's video.
but it was like an indiscriminate distance.
Well, yours can be the same distance here, right? This is not exactly a very
All
stable
right.
benchmark, right? It's.
All right, we'll figure something out.
I think if the viewers and me and you look at it, and you're like, yeah, that's about right, then it's fine. But it'll be
Alright.
until somebody's like, hey, that's definitely too long, too short, or whatever. then we'll question whether or not you.
Perfect.
This
A
is all
quasi argument.
This is all in the scenario that you actually end up losing the March Madness tournament.
Which is ridiculous because I'm gonna get a perfect bracket.
I was just about to bring that up. I was like, if you're familiar at all with our website, lcalcb.wordpress.com, as well as the Sold by Will / little column A, little column B podcast, you can see Zach's bio on there, in which he says, I'm going to have the perfect bracket this year. And it's been like that for about 3 years now.
This is my year. Those other years were just practice years. This is the one I really meant.
So I don't like my chances, but I am a good sport, and I am willing to listen to any and all ideas that people may have about this. We like to have fun with it.
Have you been watching much college basketball this year?
I'm starting to watch more now. I don't watch any of the
Here,
early
I'll
stuff.
give you a helpful tip. Teams that wear orange and run a zone, real good. Want them going real far in your tournament. Pick them. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm seeing Duke's playing a lot of zone right now. A lot of zone.
All the time.
What?
Got those young guys that don't have to do anything else.
I wonder if that's zone. Zone takes even more communication, like a good zone. And not only it takes a personnel that's got to be longer and fast and still be able to rebound because you can't rebound in a zone very well. I just wonder if it's easier to coach man-to-man or zone. I feel like zone requires so much more communication versus man-to-man. It's like, hey, there's your guy, and then if the other guy gets beat next to you, go help. That's it. Zone.
Yep, that's all it takes. All you professional basketball players out there, Will's got it all figured out.
Look, if you want to know how to play defense, you can. I was going to say Wesley Matthews, who's actually a very good defender. I know he didn't look quite as in his prime last night.
Whoa! Don't slander Wesley Matthews. It was Wesley Johnson.
Or Wesley Johnson. I do
I
apologize.
know they're both named Wesley, but two different people. One of them's on my fantasy team. Don't besmirch Wesley Matthews' name. Not while I'm around.
Well, let me just start by saying I'm amazed that I managed to know two Wesleys in my life. But going forward, I think Wesley Johnson's actually a great defender. All right, he could tell you how to play the zone and the man-to-man. All right, he knows all about that.
All right.
So ideas, send them our way. You may feel free to reach out. You can reach Zach at his Twitter, which is
WickedZman24.
and as well as the website, lcalcb.wordpress.com. We're also on iTunes. You can listen live at soldbywill.com. Make sure to check that out for all your San Diego real estate needs. I also want to hint on a quick little idea that it's being executed. It's actually already done. We're going to start doing, what are the animations? They're not really cartoons, but they kind of are. It's called whiteboard animation.
Whiteboard animation.
Whiteboard animation?
Yeah.
So I got bored one day and I saw one of these whiteboard animation videos and I said, hey, how do you make those? And an hour later, I made one and I made it to the podcast. It's one of our favorite segments from 2 years ago. It was a Tinder podcast, and I'm going to release this at some point. Just want to do a little bit more fine tuning, make sure I got everything in there that's copyright official. We don't need to be getting flagged on YouTube all the time. We're bad boys, but I don't want to play that game.
Podcast bad boys.
But that'll be something to look forward to, as well as the March Madness bet in itself. All in all, it's been a good run. This is episode 90, if anyone was keeping track. So we have done 90 episodes, and they are all available on our website. Let's see, closing things out right now. How about we ask Zach? Do you pay for NFL Network?
No.
No. Is there any reason you would?
Yes, I do pay for NFL Network.
You do. All right.
It's new. It's new this year.
It's
I
new
didn't
this
have
year.
it before. That's why. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: Why do you pay for it? What is the advantage? Why do you have to have NFL Network?
It came with the cable package.
All right, that's not the reason I was looking for. You're really hurting me here. The reason is
sorry.
because of the Thursday night games are mostly and later in the year and used to be only on NFL Network. So this was one Thursday night you would subscribe and pay to this channel so you could watch football one night a week. And I've always wondered why this channel exists, and I get the money grab of it all, but they have there's no other content on there other than that. And I was like, why can't they add something or show something else? If you tune in on any other day or any other hour, there's nothing on there. They're rerunning the same highlights from the one game they had that week. Until today. Until this year. Looks like they're going to be doing some flag football. I don't know if that's the answer I wanted, but it makes me feel a little bit better that at least somebody's identifying the same problem I am and trying to come up with a solution.
It's not just you're super underselling this. It's the American Flag Football League.
Oh, it's
going to be a
official.
huge tournament. This is very official. They're going to televise 11 games. Here, let me just throw some names out of players that are going to be playing. Have you ever heard of Michael Vick?
Yeah, I've heard
Chad
of
Johnson?
Him. Yeah.
Maybe we go to even to a different sport. Nate Robinson, Carlos Boozer. All these guys are going to be playing.
All right, you know what? I undersold this. I'm mostly just mad that it's on that network, and they're doing the same thing by adding this to this network. They're forcing you to buy this channel for now. I mean, even all right. So it's 2 games, 3 games. However many flag football games they end up having, plus
11.
the actual. They're gonna have 11. Oh no! Oh great!
They're
There's
gonna
gonna be
televise
11,
11.
and then the average 16 weeks. There's gonna be Thursday night games. So I don't know. I'm not a math major here, but still, that is not a lot of games that you're going to subscribe to an entire channel that is not very affordable, because you have to have a certain cable package to acquire it.
This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so when you pay for this, there's some more content for you to check out. They're going to be holding a 132 single elimination tournament for its first season. There's going to be 128 amateur teams and 4 pro teams. This all culminates in the top the best pro team and the top amateur team. We're going to meet on July 19th. So this is a summertime thing. And you play any pickup football? Any flag football for you?
None for me. I love the idea about it. It is exciting. Unfortunately, I already started playing the outro music, and we're going to wrap things up. We'll be back next week. Zach's going to talk all about his flag football history and his past, and we played a couple games. They weren't flag. They were college tackle.
I play flag now.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But thank you for everybody for listening. As always, make sure you check out the iTunes podcast. Everything else is on there. All the affiliated apps are also, you can download it, do whatever you want, share it, come up with some ideas for some punishments in March Madness, and make sure you tweet Zach that Duke is a really, really bad basketball team. Do that. You should do that. You should do that right now. I don't know what you're waiting for. I'm still waiting. You should be done by now. Wicked Z-Man 24. Tweet him right now. We'll be back. Great show.
Ooh, you came in spitting some fire today.
Yeah, no, fun stuff. Good topics, good everything. We definitely should have brought up the girlfriend thing. I'm getting way too many questions about this. I have.
How do you want to bring it up?
I don't know, but I have I have news. We easily could have talked about this. So you know, like
Yeah.
making commitments to all this. Normally it's like weddings and other events and things like that. St. Patrick's Day is in 2 weeks, or yeah, about 2 weeks. And you're actually you're gonna be in town. You're gonna be here when this is happening, and I've already committed to a St. Patrick's Day event with her. This is real. This is
Ooh.
actually
Does she
happening.
have a friend?
I don't know, but I got 2 weeks to figure that out. But now that means
Yeah.
I'm at least locked
Get
in
on
for
that.
2 more weeks, and that's kind of encouraging and then kind of scary at the same time. I'll be honest, it's terrifying.
Well, yeah, that's kind of double since the announcement. So that's like a full month, right?
Yeah, do people actually do these little 1 month anniversary things? Like, I'm so bad at all of this, which is the worst part. But
You're asking the wrong person. I just know stuff through TV.
well,
So I could give you what people are saying on TV.
That's basically how I ended up with her, as I did my best John Hamm impression as Don Draper, and somehow that managed to impress somebody to tolerate me for longer than an episode, I'll say.
Based on Don's hair, how many drinks in were you?
I was feeling good enough to address somebody the way I addressed her.
Oh, so fully disheveled Don. Okay, gotcha.
But it worked.
Gotcha. You can always tell how much he's drank.
But it worked.
And
she's great, man. You're gonna love her. I can't wait for you to meet her. Assuming I don't completely fuck up in the next 2 weeks, you're gonna have a pretty likely chance of meeting her. But
I sure hope nothing happens to her. Like she gets kidnapped, like to Mexico or something. You're right by the border.
Why would you ever say something like that? Who even said she was Mexican? It's the amount of assumptions.
I didn't say she was Mexican. Anybody can get kidnapped to Mexico. I could get kidnapped to Mexico. That's why I live far away, so it doesn't happen.
Well, don't.
Makes it a lot harder.
I trust me. I got enough problems, and you're already the worst person to talk to about all this. I don't know why we're doing it, but
yeah, I don't know why you brought it up to me.
I don't know.
Don't you have roommates for this?
No, they're already in a relationship. They're no help. Then they've been.
Wouldn't that be the most helpful?
No. See, that's the other thing. Is once you're in a relationship for longer than like a year, you forget. It all disappears. It all goes away. You don't even remember what life used to be like. It's forever like this.
Ooh.
You can't remember what life used to be like.
Ooh, I didn't know that, but I can get that for even before that.
I'm just saying.
Where it's if you've just been in a relationship for a while, you don't remember the single life. You just remember it's like college, where you just remember all the good stuff. You don't remember like taking tests.
If I'm fortunate to make it a whole year from now, you're gonna see. You're gonna be like, Will, you're a completely changed person. You can't relate to me at all anymore. The podcast may suffer.
Oof. Well, I'm gonna have to get rid of her then.
Don't say
Maybe
that.
I kidnap her to Mexico.
There's a chance she's actually gonna listen to this show one of these times. It's one thing as a pickup line. It's another thing to actually come through and actually have a podcast. Like, it's not just a gag. I really do this. This is a thing. We have 90 episodes. That's also the real number.
We're international. We're practically international at this point.
We do have international listeners. I got some family in Greece that listen.
See, we are an international podcast. I got to start advertising that. I've only been saying I'm a nationwide podcast co-host.
But all right. Let's get our act together a little bit here. What do you want the 3 topics to be for the Facebook post and the website?
Let's do something with the Facebook quizzes.
All right. Do you think people are gonna know what Facebook quizzes are?
Not necessarily. Let's try to make it like a little, try to razz it up a little bit.
Data mining?
Is Facebook? No, not data mining. That's I'm looking for something sexier. Like is
what? How about
like what don't you know about Facebook or something? Like what? Oh no, what you don't know about Facebook quizzes?
Perfect. All right, there's one. Let's do the boycott. I think that'll be. It's March now.
Yeah. Actually, put the boycott first. That was our main one.
All right, and then I don't know. We'll come up with the last one here. I don't know. Maybe the alcohol versus exercise. Or what else? This is the hardest. It's so dumb that as soon as this thing ends, I completely forget everything we talked about because it just feels like a conversation. It didn't feel like something I needed to memorize and be able to present again because it's already done. Like at this point, I'm
No,
relieved.
yeah, yeah. This is what the team's for.
We could do the MLB thing or the half pipe. The half
I'd
pipe's good.
I'd rather do the alcohol one.
All right, we'll do the alcohol one then. All right, well, great show. I'll let you know about that cartoon whiteboard thing. We're definitely have to work out something to do, but
Excellent.
it's happening.
Yes.
It's happening. It's really gonna get done. But I gotta let you go.
Yes,
I
no,
gotta
that's
go to
gonna be cool.
I gotta go to happy hour.
All right, I'll catch you later.
I gotta try to live a long life, you know.
All right, be careful out there.
Later, man.